The foam gradually covers the unconscious man. He could barely breathe. Just moments ago, the man helped with his sister's house renovations, trying to spray a layer of soundproofing foam on the house. Due to lack of experience, man ignores high-voltage alert on machine. In the chaos, he accidentally trips over the hose, falls into a coma. The machine's constant spray of foam covered the man. The firefighters couldn't find him, because the foam is insulated and soundproof. They had to use tools to poke at the ceiling, trying to find where he is.
Vincent! Vincent!
They finally locate him. To get him out, they decide to cut a piece of the ceiling. They remove the wooden boards, finally see the man trapped in the foam. He's quickly lifted onto a stretcher to hospital. The woman gets up and finds she can't see anything. She freaks out and quickly uses her voice assistant to call for help.
911, what's your emergency?
The rescue team arrives soon after, but she can't open the door because she can't see. Reluctantly, the captain has to break the door down. They hurry to get the woman seated, and she tells the firefighters what happened.
This morning just completely gone?
I woke to greet the world and it wasn't there.
After checking her, the team finds there's no sign of poisoning or an allergic reaction, so they start suspecting something's wrong with her eyes. They ask her to stay still, then use a flashlight to check her pupils, noticing they're sluggish, and her lenses are cloudy, like there's a thin film over them. But just then, one of the firefighters spots a worm in her eye. This immediately grabs their attention, and they rush to examine her eye more closely. That's when the captain remembers a parasitic fly called face files, but this kind of parasite usually lives on cows and sheep, feeding off their tears, so it's odd for the woman to have it. The woman finally tells the truth.
I teach yoga.
Recently, she started a goat yoga class, which helped her attract a bunch of students. During this time, she accidentally got infected by the flies from the goats. The team doctor carefully uses tweezers to pull the parasite out of her eye, then another one, and another. And as the parasites come out, the woman's vision slowly starts to return to normal. When she sees the worms, she instantly feels disgusted. She then asks if there are parasites on the rabbits too, and she's thinking of starting a bunny yoga class.
In order to stay close to her idol, the girl pours glue on the ground and lies down on it. The Bachelor show is currently filming. Joey, the Golden Bachelor, is the star of this episode. One by one, the female contestants step up to him, each hoping for a chance to go on a date with him. As Joey waits for the next contestant, a stretch limo pulls up in front of him. Out steps a woman dressed in a shiny silver outfit, holding a bottle of glue. Her excitement is completely off the charts. Joey awkwardly tries to change the topic.
I'm stuck on you, and I hope that you'll be stuck on me too.
But the crew immediately senses something is wrong. This woman isn't part of the lineup. The director calls for security to take her out, but realizing she's been caught, she starts shouting.
I have dreamed of this moment since I was 21 years old.
Then, she pours the glue all over the floor and quickly lies down on it. Everyone is in complete shock. When the directors try to pull her up, they accidentally peel off some of her skin. In a panic, they dial 911 for help. Rescue teams arrive quickly. The team leader asks what kind of glue she is using. The woman refuses to say a word. He guesses it must be industrial glue. Unfortunately, they don't have the right solvent on hand. The only option is to take her to the hospital, but since she is completely stuck to the floor, how are they going to move her? The captain has a sudden idea.
How do we get her off this driveway?
They bring in a jackhammer, cut out the flooring with her still attached, and carry both the woman and the driveway away. The director is heartbroken because the mansion is rented, and now the floor is destroyed, making it impossible to continue filming. Meanwhile, the woman keeps talking about keeping the driveway as a souvenir. Truly, what a crazy fan. A doctor performed CPR on a half-dead deer.
She's in V-fib. I'm gonna shock. Charge at 300 and stand back. Oh my God!
To everyone's amazement, the deer suddenly sprang back to life. It all started just moments earlier, when a boy, covered in blood, rushed into the hospital, begging the doctors to save his friend. The man also brought in a severed limb. Hurrying to the scene, the doctors were shocked to find the friend lying on the car was, in fact, a deer. At first, the doctor was reluctant to treat it, but then the boy's father said something changed her mind.
We're gonna take her home and skin her and freeze the meat.
Please.
Please.
To protect the child's innocent heart, the doctor decided to give it a try. She put on gloves to examine the deer and found its pupils were dilated and its heartbeat irregular.
We're losing her.
This is absolutely childish and ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's not childish to hold on to hope. It's actually hard, very, very hard. Your son just wants to believe that some things can work out for the best.
The doctor instructed her assistant to bring the defibrillator and charge it to 300J. A surge of electricity coursed through the deer. It flipped over and stood up. The crowd was ecstatic. Meanwhile, the boy's father stood frozen in disbelief, silently mourning the meal that had just been brought back to life. A woman is working out with a guy, naked. When the doorbell suddenly rings, she scrambles to put on clothes and answers the door. It's her husband. Instead of getting angry, he smiles, walks in, and even greets the guy.
Sorry to intrude. I wasn't quite sure when she'd be coming home.
The wife is thrilled her husband is so chill about everything, but not before long she collapses in agony from intense stomach pain and ends up in the ER. During her exam, the doctors learn they're on the open marriage, so the woman's pain may be from cross-infection. The doctor asks their sex partner, but the husband shockingly reveals,
None? None. She needs this. I don't.
House refuses to believe. He's convinced the man is hiding a bigger betrayal. At this point, the dean suddenly asks them to stop the examination because the wife's insurance has been cut off for quite some time. It is then that the husband confesses.
I lost all of our savings.
Being about to despair, House suddenly notices a bouquet of lilacs in the ward.
Guy's wife's dying. He stops to buy flowers.
They're from his garden.
House suspects a bee sting caused a rare skin condition. One of his team members immediately objects, saying there are no visible symptoms on her body. House starts searching her body, eventually finds clear signs inside her mouth. With the right medication, the woman can recover her health. But can their marriage ever return to what it was? A woman suddenly collapses. Her urine is blue. The doctors go to her house and find some pills causes discoloration of urine. She admits she deliberately took the pills to come to the hospital because a cat had foreseen her death. Later, she shows up with the cat to test whether this cat could actually predict death. House takes it to the patient rooms for an experiment. The cat lies down on the bed of patient number 4, but that patient seems totally stable and healthy. House thinks the woman's just scared of dying and made up the cat's ability. But the next day, patient number 4 dies out of nowhere. The woman's condition also gets way worse. She needs emergency surgery.
The cat was right, House.
Suddenly, the cat shows up in House's office. It jumps right onto his computer to lie down. He figures out what's really going on. When people are about to die, their body temperature rises. Cats are super sensitive to heat. Curl up next to warm bodies to stay cozy. The woman has appendicitis, which is causing her fever. That's why the cat kept lying near her. House immediately begins to treat the woman and saves her. The firefighter pushed through the crowd of onlookers and saw a large chunk of the girl's scalp had been torn off by the stationary bike. The man standing nearby looked guilty, saying he was riding the bike when the girl suddenly flew off it. There was blood everywhere. The firefighter stepped forward to check the girl's condition and realized cutting her hair would solve the problem. The team doctor asked the man to get a towel, but he stood frozen, as if he hadn't heard.
Hello?
Seeing this, the trainer had to go and fetch it herself. They placed the towel under the girl's head and then cut off her hair, taking the scalp with it to the hospital.
During the meeting, the man suddenly realizes something's wrong. He looks up at the skylight, and a dark spot is falling fast. Everyone in the meeting room is in shock. There's a steel pipe sticking out of his body. His neck is badly torn, bleeding heavily. Pressing on it doesn't help. The doctor grabs a cath balloon, inserts it into the tear, and inflates it. Finally, the bleeding stops. The stretcher arrives. They rush him to the operating room.
Is he even going to fit into the CT machine with that thing in his chest?
No time to think. The doctor grabs a cutting tool, saws off a part of the pipe, and finally gets him into the CT machine. He finally wakes up. He admits that he suffers from depression, but his overly long hours at the hospital even left him no time to see a psychiatrist. After this near-death experience, he realizes he's been carrying too much pressure, and he decides to quit the medical field to pursue what he truly loves.